Arrogant aliens' blood splattered the decks as human-built viruses ravaged the Ladosian scout ship systems. Captain Orion seethed with fury, his cybernetic eye twitching erratically as he watched a lone human vessel approach his crippled ship. The human colony on Zephyrus had seemed primitive, their ramshackle structures and lack of visible advanced technology marking them as just another unintelligent species to be logged and forgotten. But Orion had underestimated them. This barbarian named Aaron Henry, nothing more than a self-taught engineer, had built a makeshift long-range scanner that pierced the Ladosian cloaking technology. Worse, the human had deciphered their programming language and unleashed a devastating virus that left the scout ship helpless. Now, as a furious Orion ordered the human brought aboard, the captain wondered if his mission to catalog new civilizations had just turned into a battle for survival against a deceptively cunning adversary. Aaron, flanked by grim-faced Ladosian guards, hid a smile as he studied the alien technology surrounding him. His mind raced, already understanding and planning how to adapt it to protect his people. In a dimly lit chamber, two leaders faced each other, the arrogant Ladosian who had dismissed humans as primitives, and the defiant human who had brought a mighty alien vessel to its knees. The fate of the Zephyrus colony hung in the balance as a battle of wits began. Orion's beliefs about human inferiority would be challenged, while Aaron fought to save his people from the looming threat of an advanced, hostile civilization that had underestimated them for the last time. Captain Orion's cybernetic eye twitched as he glared at the defiant human standing before him. Aaron Henry, the self-taught engineer who had brought the mighty Ladosian scout ship to its knees, met the alien's gaze without flinching. In the dimly lit chamber, the tension was palpable. Lieutenant Zara, Orion's second-in-command, sneered at Aaron's primitive appearance. "You dare stand before us, human? Your kind is nothing more than savages playing with sticks and stones." Aaron's lips curled into a smirk. "Sticks and stones that crippled your advanced vessel. Perhaps you should reevaluate your assessment of our capabilities." Orion's fist clenched, but he maintained his composure. He studied Aaron intently, his mind racing to understand how this seemingly primitive being had outsmarted Ladosian technology. As Aaron's eyes darted around the room, taking in the alien systems and interfaces, Orion noticed a glimmer of understanding in the human's expression. "You grasp the basics of our technology," Orion stated, his tone a mix of annoyance and grudging respect. "But do not think that makes you our equal. You will be confined to quarters while I decide how to deal with your insolence." Guards escorted Aaron from the chamber, but the human's confidence never wavered. Once alone in his assigned quarters, Aaron retrieved a concealed device from his clothing. With deft movements, he established a link to the Zephyrus colony's network, uploading the precious data he had gathered about the alien ship and its technology. In the modest command center of the Zephyrus colony, elected leader Marcus Riker pored over the information Aaron had sent. The room buzzed with activity as scientists and engineers huddled around screens, analyzing the alien schematics and debating potential weaknesses. Marcus turned to his chief engineer, a grizzled woman named Nadia. "What do you make of this, Nadia? Can we use this intel to bolster our defenses?" Nadia nodded, her eyes alight with tenacity. "It won't be easy, but with some clever reverse engineering, we might just stand a chance. We'll need every able-bodied colonist working round the clock, though." Marcus clasped Nadia's shoulder. "We'll get it done. Our survival depends on it." Back on the Ladosian ship, Captain Orion convened a meeting with his senior officers. Science Officer Lyra, her lithe form draped in a form-fitting uniform, leaned forward, her brow furrowed in thought. "Captain, I believe we should study these humans further before taking any drastic action. Their adaptability and resourcefulness are intriguing." Security Chief Drax, a hulking figure with a scarred face, pounded his fist on the table. "Intriguing? They're a threat. We should subjugate or eliminate them before they can cause any more trouble." As the debate raged on, Aaron made his move. Using a combination of low-tech tools and his growing understanding of the alien ship's systems, he managed to escape from his confinement. Heart pounding, he crept through the corridors, evading patrols and security sensors. Alarms blared as Captain Orion was alerted to Aaron's escape. "Find him!" Orion roared, his cybernetic eye flashing with anger. I want that human brought to me, dead or alive. Aaron's breath came in ragged gasps as he sprinted toward the shuttle bay, a squad of Ladosian soldiers hot on his heels. Plasma bolts sizzled past him, scorching the walls as he ducked and weaved. With a final burst of speed, Aaron leaped into a shuttle, his fingers flying over the unfamiliar controls. The bay doors began to close, but Aaron's hacked access codes overrode the system. The shuttle engines roared to life, and he rocketed out of the ship, leaving the furious Ladosians behind. Plasma fire chased him, but Aaron's skills as a pilot, honed in the challenging atmosphere of Zephyrus, allowed him to evade the pursuing ships. As Aaron's shuttle streaked towards the planet's surface, Captain Orion stared at the view screen, his face twisted with rage and humiliation. The human had outsmarted them yet again, and the implications of this failure caused great concern on the captain's shoulders. On Zephyrus, cheers erupted as Aaron's shuttle touched down. The colonists rushed to greet their hero, eager to hear of his daring mission and the invaluable intelligence he had gathered. Marcus embraced Aaron, a broad grin on his face. You've given us a fighting chance, my friend, but the real battle is just beginning. The Ladosians won't underestimate us again. As the colonists worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses, Marcus and Aaron secluded themselves in the command center, poring over the data and discussing their options. The threat of the technologically superior Ladosians loomed large, but the humans of Zephyrus were determined to find a way to coexist, or if necessary, to fight for their survival. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, a battle of wits and wills that would determine the fate of the Zephyrus colony and perhaps the future of humanity itself. The Ladosians had dismissed the humans as primitives, but Aaron Henry and the brave colonists were ready to prove them wrong, no matter the consequences. The ground trembled as the massive Ladosian ship descended upon Zephyrus, its shadow engulfing the human settlement. Colonists scurried to their positions, gripping makeshift weapons with white-knuckled purpose. Aaron Henry and Dr. Elias Novak hunched over a workbench in the command center, fingers flying as they integrated salvaged alien tech into their defensive systems. How's that power coupling? Aaron asked, wiping sweat from his brow. Dr. Novak's eyes never left the intricate circuitry. Almost there. If this works, we'll have a fighting chance against their energy weapons. Outside, Marcus Riker stood at the forefront of the colony's defenders, watching as the Ladosian ship touched down. The ground hissed and smoked where its landing struts made contact. With a pneumatic whoosh, a ramp extended, and Captain Orion emerged, flanked by Lieutenant Zara and a phalanx of heavily armed soldiers. Orion's cybernetic eye glowed menacingly as he strode towards Marcus. You will surrender this colony immediately, he demanded, his voice carrying across the tense silence. Marcus stood his ground. We're not going anywhere, Captain. This is our home. The standoff crackled with tension, neither side willing to back down. Suddenly, the earth beneath their feet began to tremble. A piercing shriek filled the air as a massive insectoid creature erupted from the ground between the two groups. Its chitinous armor gleamed in the sunlight, razor-sharp mandibles snapping as it towered over both humans and Ladosians. Chaos erupted. Colonists scattered, their improvised weapons useless against the beast's thick hide. Ladosian soldiers opened fire, energy bolts ricocheting off the creature's carapace. The insectoid lashed out with its barbed legs, sending aliens and humans alike flying through the air. In the command center, alarms blared. Aaron's eyes widened as he watched the feeds. We need to do something, now! Dr. Novak nodded grimly. The adapter is ready. Let's hope it works. They sprinted outside, carrying their jury-rigged device. Aaron's gaze locked with Captain Orion's across the battlefield. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. Captain, Aaron shouted, hefting the adapter. Your weapons! We can modulate the energy frequency. Orion hesitated for a split second before barking orders to his troops. Ladosian soldiers tossed their rifles to the humans, who quickly attached the adapters. Aaron took aim at the rampaging insectoid, the alien weapon humming with amplified power in his hands. He fired. A searing bolt of energy struck the creature, burning through its armor. It screeched in pain and fury. More shots followed from both humans and Ladosians, their coordinated attack driving the beast back. Marcus and Orion found themselves fighting side by side, shouting orders to their people. Lieutenant Zara unleashed a barrage of covering fire, her expression a mix of awe and confusion at the unexpected alliance. With a final ear-splitting shriek, the insectoid retreated, burrowing back into the earth. An uneasy silence fell over the battlefield. Captain Orion turned to Marcus, his cybernetic eye whirring as it recalibrated. "Your people fought admirably," he admitted grudgingly. Before Marcus could respond, Dr. Novak burst from the command center, clutching a data pad. "Marcus, Captain, you need to see this immediately." As the leaders huddled around the scientist, he explained his discovery of the rare mineral and its significance to Ladosian technology. The implications hung heavy in the air. Marcus seized the moment. "Captain, we have a proposal, a way for both our peoples to benefit." Orion's expression remained impassive as Marcus outlined the treaty offer. Lieutenant Zara stepped forward, her voice low. "Sir, perhaps we should consider—" "Enough," Orion interrupted. He surveyed the battered human settlement, then the faces of his own crew. Something shifted behind his eyes. "I will return to our ship and consult with my superiors. This is unprecedented." As the Ladosian delegation retreated to their vessel, the colonists allowed themselves a moment of cautious celebration. Aaron caught Marcus's eye, both men knowing the real work was just beginning. In the command center, Dr. Novak pored over the alien schematics, muttering excitedly about potential breakthroughs. Aaron joined him, mind racing with possibilities. "If we can reverse engineer their shield technology," Aaron began. Novak nodded eagerly. "And combine it with our adapter's frequency modulation?" Outside, Marcus gazed up at the looming Ladosian ship, its presence a constant reminder of the precarious situation. He pulled out a worn star chart, studying the locations of other human colonies. Alliances would need to be forged, preparations made. The future of Zephyrus hung in the balance, with challenges and opportunities stretching out before them like the star-studded expanse of space itself. Captain Orion stood rigidly at attention before Admiral Vexcor, his cybernetic eye dim as he absorbed the scathing rebuke. The Admiral's holographic image loomed large in the Ladosian command ship's briefing room, his voice crackling with awe-inspiring fury. "You allowed primitives to outwit you, Orion. Your failure is an embarrassment to the entire colonial fleet." Orion's eyes sharp. "With respect, Admiral, these humans have demonstrated—" "Silence!" Vexcor's image flickered as he slammed a fist down. "I've heard enough of your excuses. Security Chief Drax, what is your assessment?" Drax stepped forward, a predatory grin spreading across his scarred face. "The humans are crafty vermin, nothing more. We must crush them swiftly and without mercy." Vexcor nodded approvingly. "Prepare your forces for a full-scale assault, Captain. I want that colony reduced to ashes." As the transmission ended, Lieutenant Zara approached Orion. "Sir, perhaps there's another way. If we could negotiate—" "Our orders are clear," Orion cut her off, his voice heavy. "Prepare the fleet for orbital bombardment." On Zephyrus, the colony bustled with frantic activity. Marcus Riker surveyed the newly constructed energy shields, their shimmering surface a testament to human ingenuity. Dr. Novak hurried over, his face creased with worry. "The shields are operational, but without more of that mineral, they won't last long against a sustained attack." Marcus nodded grimly. "Let's hope Aaron's team finds what we need." Miles away in Zephyrus's volcanic badlands, Aaron Henry wiped caustic sweat from his brow. The air shimmered with heat, noxious fumes stinging his eyes. Beside him, Jackson Keller hefted a makeshift mining laser, its power cells dangerously low. "How much further, Em?" Aaron called out. Emily Rhodes consulted her instruments, her protective suit caked with volcanic ash. "We're close. The mineral readings are off the charts just beyond that ridge." As they crested the hill, a vast chasm opened before them, its walls glittering with veins of the precious mineral. Aaron allowed himself a moment of triumph before the ground began to tremble. A massive serpentine form erupted from the chasm, its armored hide glistening with magma. Jackson opened fire, but the laser bolts merely scorched the creature's scales. "We need to trigger a cave-in," Emily shouted, already priming her explosives. Aaron grabbed her arm. "Wait, we'll be trapped!" Emily's eyes met his through her visor. "We don't have a choice." The charges detonated with a thunderous roar. Tons of rock cascaded down, burying the monstrous creature. As the dust settled, Aaron realized with growing dread that their path back to the colony was now completely blocked. Jackson coughed, his suit's filters struggling against the acrid air. "Now what?" Aaron activated his comms, static filling the channel. "We need to find another way out, and fast." Back at the colony, alarms blared as Ladosian warships entered orbit. Marcus raced to the command center, his heart pounding. On the main view screen, a sea of hostile vessels filled the sky. "They're charging weapons!" a technician shouted. Marcus gripped the console, his knuckles tightening. "Raise shields, all personnel to battle stations." As the first salvo of Ladosian energy weapons streaked towards Zephyrus, Marcus silently prayed that Aaron would return in time. The fate of the colony now hung by the thinnest of threads. The first salvo of Ladosian energy weapons slammed into the makeshift shields, sending tremors through the colony's foundations. Marcus gritted his teeth as the view screen lit up with a barrage of incoming fire. "Shields holding at 62%, a technician called out, her voice strained. Marcus nodded grimly. "Reroute power from non-essential systems. We need to buy more time." Outside, colonists scrambled for cover as stray bolts of energy pierced the weakening shields. A nearby storage facility erupted in flames, casting an eerie glow across the panicked faces of fleeing civilians. In the command center, Emily Rhodes burst in, her face streaked with ash. "Marcus, we've got a weak signal from Aaron's team." Marcus rushed to her side. "Put it through!" Static crackled over the speakers before Aaron's voice cut through, barely audible. "Trapped. Volcanic tunnels. Found a way. Mineral." Emily leaned in, her eyes wide. "They're alive but cut off. We need to mount a rescue operation." Marcus hesitated, torn between the needs of the colony and the fate of the mining team. Another impact rocked the building, making the decision for him. "Take Jackson and a small team, but be careful out there." As Emily raced to assemble her rescue party, the battle in orbit took an unexpected turn. Aboard the Ladosian flagship, Lieutenant Zara stood before a control panel, her fingers hovering over the weapon systems. With a deep breath, she initiated the shutdown sequence. Alarms blared as half the ship's weapon banks went dark. Security Chief Drax stormed onto the bridge, his face contorted with rage. "What is the meaning of this?" he roared, advancing on Zara. She stood her ground. "We can't continue this slaughter. It's wrong, and you know it." Drax reached for his sidearm, but Science Officer Lyra stepped between them. "Wait, perhaps we should consider—" "Silence!" Drax snarled. "I'll have you both relieved of duty for this treachery." As the Ladosian leadership fractured, Aaron Henry led his team through winding subterranean passages. The air grew thick with sulfurous fumes, forcing them to rely on their dwindling oxygen supplies. "We're running out of options," Jackson wheezed, his suit's filters struggling against the toxic atmosphere. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast underground cavern. Aaron's light illuminated a group of reptilian humanoids, their scales glistening in the dim light. The creatures hissed, brandishing crude spears. Aaron held up his hands, speaking softly. "We mean you no harm. We need your help." To everyone's surprise, the lead reptilian tilted its head, as if considering Aaron's words. It gestured towards a shimmering vein of mineral embedded in the cavern wall. "Yes," Aaron exclaimed. "That's what we need. Can you help us get it back to our people?" The creature's eyes narrowed, then it nodded slowly. A flurry of activity erupted as the reptilians began harvesting the precious mineral. On the surface, Emily and Jackson led their rescue team through a hellscape of Ladosian bombardment. They ducked behind the smoldering wreckage of a transport vehicle as energy bolts rained down around them. "We can't make it to the rendezvous point like this," Jackson shouted over the din of explosions. Emily's eyes darted around, searching for inspiration. She spotted a downed Ladosian shuttle, its hull mostly intact. "I have an idea," she grinned, pointing towards the alien craft. "Time to even the odds." As they sprinted towards their unlikely salvation, Aaron's team emerged from a hidden tunnel entrance, flanked by their reptilian allies. The two groups locked eyes across the battle-scarred landscape, a moment of hope amidst the chaos. Suddenly, a Ladosian patrol craft screamed overhead, its weapons locking onto the exposed humans. Aaron's heart raced as he watched certain death descend upon them. In that instant, the ground beneath the Ladosian ship erupted. A massive reptilian form burst forth, its powerful jaws clamping down on the alien vessel's hull. The patrol craft spiraled out of control, crashing in a ball of fire. Aaron turned to the reptilian leader, awe etched on his face. "Thank you," he breathed. With renewed drive, the combined human and reptilian forces made their way towards the colony, precious mineral in tow. As they approached the perimeter, Dr. Novak's voice crackled over the comms. "Marcus, I've done it. The weapon is ready, but we need that mineral to power it." Marcus's eyes gleamed with a mix of hope and steely commitment. "Then let's give the good doctor what he needs." "Needs," Marcus's voice crackled with perseverance as he addressed the assembled team. "We're infiltrating that flagship." Aaron's eyes widened. "You can't be serious. It's suicide." "It's our only chance," Marcus countered, hefting a makeshift plasma rifle. "We split into two teams. Alpha team disables their weapons. Bravo team finds Novak and his secret weapon." Minutes later, under cover of the reptilians' surprise attack, the human strike force breached the Ladosian ship's hull. Alarms blared as they sprinted through sterile corridors. "This way," Aaron shouted, leading Alpha team towards the weapon systems. Jackson covered their six, his modified mining laser, leaving scorch marks on pursuing Ladosian troops. Meanwhile, Marcus and Emily of Bravo team fought their way to the science labs. A well-placed explosive charge breached the sealed doors, revealing a haggard Dr. Novak. "About time," the scientist exclaimed, already gathering components. "I've reverse-engineered their tech. We can create an EMP warhead to cripple the entire fleet." On the bridge, Lieutenant Zara faced down Captain Orion. "This slaughter ends now, sir. Stand down." Orion's cybernetic eye whirred as he assessed the mutinous crew. Before he could respond, Security Chief Drax burst in, weapon drawn. "Traitors!" he snarled. Chaos erupted as Ladosian turned on Ladosian. Zara's loyalists grappled with Drax's hardliners, the bridge becoming a frenzied battleground. Amidst the confusion, Aaron's team reached the flagship's warp core. Jackson took point, laying down suppressing fire as Aaron raced to arm Novak's jury-rigged EMP device. A stray energy bolt caught Jackson in the chest. He crumpled, gasping. "Finish it, Aaron," he wheezed, blood bubbling at his lips. "Save our people." Tears stinging his eyes, Aaron activated the warhead. A blinding pulse of electromagnetic energy surged outward, cascading through the Ladosian fleet. Ships went dark, weapons fell silent. The once mighty armada drifted powerless in Zephyrus's orbit. In the flagship's corridor, Marcus helped a limping Emily as they rendezvoused with Aaron. The gravity of their victory slowly sank in. "We did it," Emily breathed, her voice barely a whisper. Aaron nodded, his expression haunted. "But at what cost?" Captain Orion, restrained by Zara's forces, stared out a viewscreen at his crippled fleet. His proud shoulders sagged as the full weight of their technological hubris crashed down upon him. As the dust settled, humans and Ladosians alike found themselves at a crossroads. The invasion had been thwarted, but the real challenge lay ahead, forging a future where two vastly different civilizations could coexist. Marcus turned to address his battered team, acutely aware that their next moves would shape the destiny of both their peoples. The silence aboard the Ladosian flagship was deafening. Marcus Riker surveyed the dimly lit bridge, illuminated only by the soft glow of emergency power cells. Beside him, Lieutenant Zara stood rigid, her scaled fingers twitching near her holstered sidearm. "Your move, human," she hissed, mandibles clicking softly. Marcus exhaled slowly, weighing his words. We've both lost good people today. Maybe it's time we talked about ending this madness. Zara's compound eyes narrowed, then softened almost imperceptibly. She tapped a communication panel, her voice carrying across the powerless fleet. All Ladosian forces, stand down. I repeat, stand down. On Zephyrus' surface, Emily Rhodes lowered her makeshift weapon as the staccato of energy fire ceased. The acrid smell of ozone hung heavy in the air. Nearby, a massive reptilian form emerged from the shadows, scales glistening with bioluminescent patterns. I am Jacra, the creature rumbled, its voice resonating deep in Emily's chest. We have watched your conflict from afar. Perhaps now we can help you find common ground. Days later, the colonial meeting hall buzzed with tension. Humans and Ladosians sat on opposite sides, eyeing each other warily. At the head of the table, Jacra's imposing presence commanded respect. Marcus leaned forward, his voice steady. We're willing to negotiate, but Zephyrus remains under human control. That's non-negotiable. Zara's mandibles clicked in agitation. And what of the mineral? Our civilization faces an energy crisis. We need... To conquer and pillage? Dr. Novak interjected, his weathered face creased with anger. This mineral could revolutionize energy production for both our peoples. Science Officer Lyra's antenna twitched with interest. Perhaps a joint research initiative? Aaron Henry, standing quietly in the corner, stepped forward. Why stop there? What if we formed integrated scientific teams, pooled our knowledge? A murmur rippled through the room. Jacra nodded approvingly, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with vibrant hues. Zara's compound eyes narrowed. And what assurances do we have that you won't weaponize our technology? The negotiations threatened to unravel, decades of mistrust bubbling to the surface. Jacra's resonant voice cut through the rising chaos. Perhaps understanding must come before trust. I propose an exchange. Let your people walk in each other's footsteps. In the weeks that followed, humans and Ladosians cautiously integrated. Aaron found himself aboard a Ladosian agricultural ship, marveling at the efficiency of their hydroponics. Meanwhile, Lyra explored Zephyrus's geothermal vents, her exoskeleton glistening with mineral-rich condensation. In a newly constructed laboratory, Dr. Novak hunched over a workbench, his human hands working in tandem with the dexterous appendages of science specialist Verena. Their latest energy conversion prototype hummed to life, bathing the room in a soft purple glow. Verena chittered excitedly. The efficiency is unprecedented. With further refinement, we could power entire cities, Novak finished, a hint of wonder in his voice. Maybe even starships. As the sun set on Zephyrus, casting long shadows across the scarred landscape, Marcus and Zara stood atop a hill overlooking the fledgling colony. The first joint habitation dome gleamed in the distance, a symbol of tentative cooperation. Your people are not what I expected, Zara admitted, her mandibles twitching in what Marcus had come to recognize as a smile. He nodded, his eyes fixed on the horizon. We've both made assumptions. Maybe it's time we started over. In the valley below, a group of human children chased a Ladosian hatchling in a game of tag, their laughter echoing across the alien terrain. It was a small step, but perhaps the beginning of something greater. As night fell, the leaders of both factions gathered once more. The air crackled with possibility and lingering apprehension. Marcus cleared his throat, acutely aware that his next words could shape the future of two civilizations. Let's talk about a framework for our new reality, he began, gesturing to the star-filled sky above. One where we explore the cosmos together, rather than fight over it. Marcus took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping across the assembled leaders. We've come far, but our journey is just beginning. Lieutenant Zara, you have the floor. Zara's compound eyes glinted in the artificial light as she stepped forward. Esteemed delegates, I propose we formalize our nascent cooperation into an alliance of mutual progress. Our survival depends on open scientific exchange and joint stewardship of resources like Zephyrus's mineral wealth. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Marcus felt the weight of countless eyes upon him, as he considered Zara's words. The Human Leadership Council shifted uneasily in their seats. While we acknowledge the potential benefits, Marcus began cautiously, there are concerns about maintaining our autonomy. We can't simply hand over control of our destiny. Dr. Novak leapt to his feet, his weathered face flushed with passion. But don't you see? This is our chance to elevate all sentient life. Think of the advancements we could make together. As debates raged on both sides, Aaron Henry's analytical mind whirred. He pored over data streams, searching for a solution. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. What if we distributed power across multiple systems? He mused aloud. A decentralized framework. Aaron's voice grew stronger as he outlined his vision. We create a network of allied systems, each maintaining a degree of independence while adhering to core alliance principles. It preserves cultural identities while fostering collaboration. Emily Rhodes nodded thoughtfully. It could work. We'd need safeguards, of course, but it addresses many of our concerns. To everyone's surprise, Security Chief Drax's gravelly voice cut through the din. The humans' plan has merit, he grudgingly admitted. A fragmented power structure reduces the risk of unified rebellion. Tensions remained high as negotiators hammered out the details. Marcus insisted on phased independence for human colonies, while Zara demanded strict controls on military technology. The reptilian mediator Jacra's resonant voice often rang out, urging compromise. Days blurred into weeks. Sleep-deprived delegates argued over every clause and comma. Finally, as Zephyrus's twin moons aligned in a rare celestial display, an agreement was reached. The newly christened Alliance of Allied Systems was unveiled to thunderous applause. Crowds gathered in the streets of human settlements and Ladosian outposts alike, their cheers echoing across the alien landscape. On Zephyrus, the first joint protectorate took shape. A shared governing council convened in a gleaming new administrative center, its architecture a blend of human and Ladosian design elements. Lieutenant Zara, now High Administrator Zara, stood at a podium before a sea of faces, human, Ladosian, and representatives from newly inducted systems. Her voice carried across the assembly. Today marks the dawn of a new era. Together we will push the boundaries of science, exploration, and mutual understanding. The path ahead will not be easy, but united, we are stronger than the sum of our parts. As the applause died down, Marcus caught Zara's eye. A silent understanding passed between them. They had achieved something monumental, but challenges loomed on the horizon. In the shadows of the Grand Hall, a cluster of humans huddled together, their faces etched with discontent. "This isn't right," one hissed. "We're giving away our birthright." Across the room, a group of Ladosian hardliners muttered darkly. "Our proud lineage, diluted by lesser species," one growled. "This cannot stand." High Administrator Zara's antenna twitched, sensing the undercurrents of dissent. She leaned close to Marcus, her mandibles clicking softly. "We've won the battle for unity," she whispered. "But the war for hearts and minds has only just begun." "Begun," Marcus finished grimly. The words hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the jubilant atmosphere outside. As if on cue, a distant explosion shattered the night, followed by panicked screams. Alarms blared across the settlement. Marcus and Zara exchanged a look of grim understanding before sprinting towards the commotion. They rounded a corner to find chaos erupting in the main square. A plume of acrid smoke rose from a burning Ladosian transport, its occupants stumbling out, scales singed and antennae twitching in distress. "Sons of Terra!" a human voice shouted from the shadows. "Zephyrus for humans!" Zara's compound eyes narrowed as she scanned the area. "We need to contain this," she hissed, mandibles clicking rapidly. Marcus nodded, tapping his comm unit. "All security personnel, converge on the main square. We have a terrorist situation." As they worked to evacuate civilians and cordon off the area, more explosions rocked the settlement. The Sons of Terra had struck multiple targets simultaneously, sowing chaos and fear. In the days that followed, High Administrator Zara instituted sweeping security measures. Humans found themselves subjected to invasive scans and restricted movement. The very integration they had worked towards now seemed to be unraveling. This is unacceptable, Dr. Novak fumed during an emergency council meeting. We can't punish all humans for the actions of a few extremists. Zara's antenna twitched irritably. And we cannot stand idle while Ladosian civilians are slaughtered in the streets. The debate raged on, tensions mounting with each passing hour. In the shadows, ex-security chief Drax watched with growing satisfaction. He saw opportunity in the chaos, a chance to reassert Ladosian dominance. As the sun set on another day of unrest, Drax gathered his loyalists in a hidden bunker beneath the city. The time has come, he growled, his cybernetic eye glowing ominously in the dim light. We will show these mammals the true strength of Ladosian commitment. Across the sector, Marcus received an urgent transmission from Science Officer Lyra. Her holographic form flickered into view, antennae quivering with anxiety. Riker, we have a situation, she began, her words tumbling out in a rush. Drax has gone rogue. He's rallying hardliners, seizing key systems. The alliance is fracturing. Marcus's eyebrows furrowed. Where are you now? En route to New Terra with what's left of the Reform Council, Lyra replied. We need your help, Marcus. You're the only one with enough influence among the human worlds to counter Drax's propaganda. As the transmission ended, Marcus turned to find Emily and Aaron already gearing up. We'll split up, he decided. Dr. Novak, I need you to start a charm offensive. Visit every human world you can. Show them the scientific miracles the Alliance has achieved. Novak nodded grimly, gathering his research materials. Aaron, Emily, Marcus continued, you're our covert ops. Infiltrate Drax's strongholds, find dissidents, and disrupt his war machine from within. As the team dispersed to their missions, a hulking reptilian form emerged from the shadows. Jacques, the enigmatic mediator who had guided their initial negotiations. Your alliance faces its greatest test, she rumbled, bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. My people stand ready to aid you in the coming storm. Marcus clasped the alien's massive claw, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. Thank you, old friend. We'll need all the help we can get. As Jacques' warriors prepared for battle and Novak's shuttle lifted off, Marcus turned his gaze to the star-filled sky. Somewhere out there, Drax was consolidating his power, intent on tearing apart everything they had built. The real fight for the future of the Alliance was about to begin. Months later, Marcus Riker stood before a holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the flickering images of devastation. Reports streamed in from across Alliance space, terrorist attacks, retaliatory strikes, and escalating violence between human and Ladosian extremists. Another bombing on New Terra, Emily Rhodes reported, her voice tight with frustration. The Sons of Terra are claiming responsibility. Marcus nodded grimly. And the Draxes? Aaron Henry's fingers flew across a data pad. 3 human outposts hit in the past week. They're getting bolder. The room fell silent as footage played of a Ladosian settlement in flames, panicked civilians fleeing through smoke-choked streets. Marcus clenched his fists, the weight of failure pressing down on him. Dr. Novak burst into the command center, his lab coat singed and hair disheveled. We can't give up, he wheezed, brandishing a data crystal. Look at what Verena and I have accomplished. The holographic display shifted, revealing schematics for a revolutionary terraforming process. Novak's eyes shone with manic intensity. This could transform barren worlds into gardens. Think of the resources, the new frontiers we could open together. Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Security Chief Jacques' reptilian visage appeared on screen. Unknown vessels approaching. They're hailing us. The air crackled with tension as a shimmering, ethereal form materialized in the center of the room. Its body seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury, defying human perception. I am Zilnath of the Alraimi, the being intoned, its voice resonating directly in their minds. We have observed your conflict and offer a solution. Hours later, Marcus stood on the bridge of an Alraimi vessel, watching as Zenaris grew larger in the view screen. The planet's swirling atmosphere concealed the teeming metropolis below, and the fateful experiment about to unfold. "Are you certain about this?" Lyra chittered nervously, her antennae twitching. Marcus met her compound eyes. "No," he admitted. "But what choice do we have?" The Alrimi's arming technology pulsed to life, bathing the planet in an otherworldly glow. For a moment, hope bloomed in Marcus's chest. Then everything went wrong. The planet's surface erupted in blinding light. Shockwaves rippled outward, shattering the view screen and sending the bridge into chaos. Marcus felt a hand grip his arm, dragging him towards an escape pod. "Go!" Emily shouted, shoving him inside. Their eyes met for a split second before she slammed the hatch shut. As the pod hurtled away from the disintegrating ship, Marcus watched in horror as Zenaris was consumed by a spreading inferno. The seat beside him was empty, Emily's sacrifice etched forever in his mind. Days blurred together as Marcus drifted through space, numb with grief and shock. When a rescue ship finally retrieved his pod, he emerged to find a galaxy transformed. Ruth Harding's face dominated news broadcasts, her eyes blazing with triumphant fervor as she declared a new era of human supremacy. Ladosian star systems fell under Drax's control, their once proud fleets now tools of oppression. As Marcus slumped in his quarters, mourning all that had been lost, a hidden panel in the wall chirped to life. A familiar voice crackled through the static. "Marcus, it's Lyra. We made it out. Novak, Verena, even some of the Alrimi. We're regrouping on Avaris. There's still hope, but we need you. The real work is just beginning." Marcus straightened, a flicker of tenacity igniting in his chest. He knew the road ahead would be long and treacherous, but for the first time since Xanaris, he allowed himself to feel a glimmer of possibility. As his ship broke orbit, setting course for Avaris and an uncertain future, Marcus cast one last look at the scarred worlds behind him. Whatever came next, he knew the true test of the Alliance's ideals lay ahead.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.